Morning. Yes, we are talking about seeding today, overseeding, general replanting. I'm down here at the beach house, so you're going to hear a bunch of bugs in the background. So I'm going to break this down a little bit subject by subject. I have a ton to cover. I'm going to try and move through it as quickly as possible, so hold on. Hey guys, I actually wrote down some notes here to sort of keep me focused and on track, but down here we brought in an entire layer of soil on the front, so we had bare dirt. Then we planted Zoysia. We did that, well, what was that, probably close to 2 months ago, and that actually has established fairly well. I have some bare spots, and those bare spots are actually more water pooling areas is what I'm finding. So I've ordered some of the soil mix, and hopefully I can get some down here, because it's an island. Hopefully I can get some down here maybe next week and do some leveling of those pooling areas. But I went out 4 days ago and I did some reseeding on those spots, and I've already got germination. Why is that? It's because it's so hot and humid. Almost every day we're having a thunderstorm come through. The temperatures are high 80s, it's 100% humidity, and man, the seeds, normally Zoysia seeds can take 7 to 12 days to germinate. I've already got germination only after about 4 or 5 days, so I'm pretty excited. The backyard, we did a little bit of a mix back here, and then you guys helped me identify doveweed back here. So yesterday, I've got crabgrass and doveweed. That's all this backyard turned into. So I came out here and just sprayed the living heck out of it and raked out all this doveweed. So I'm going to be doing a reseeding back here. So what are the things you need to consider? There are three main things I really want you to consider. Number one is going to be what the temperature is. And I'm not going to go into soil temperatures, but mainly just the average temperature. So for your cool season guys, you're going to want temperatures somewhere in the, let's say, I even put it down, I went to Cornell and their germination is 68 to 85 degrees. So you can start, so late August into September is when you cool season guys are going to do a lot of reseeding. Your grasses don't creep and grow, they need to be reseeded. So that's when you're going to do it. But here's a little thing for your warm season guys. Bermuda grass, Zoysia grass, all those warm season grasses. As long as you have a good 6 to 8 weeks where you're still going to have temperatures in the 80s, you can reseed. You can do a seeding. So I'm here in mid to late August and doing seeding because I know August, September and October, I'm going to be in the 80s. And I can get that root, I can get it to establish. So I'm going to be doing another reseeding in the back. So one of the things I want you to do is, as an example, this whole backyard was solid weeds. I really want you to take care of your weed problem first. Really come out here and be very aggressive and strong with your weed treatments, and read the bottles. They'll tell you about reseeding times. Typically, if it's just a general weed killer, it's going to be 2 or 3 weeks. Make sure you have some good rainfalls during that time, and then you can go and reseed. But take care of your weed problem first. That's number one. Number two, cutting height. Remember, if you're planting new seed, that new seed needs that light. It's growing towards the light, and it only has so much energy. So what you want to do is you want to cut your grass and keep your grass very, very short. I try and keep heavy equipment off your lawn. So one of my rules down here is no heavy equipment. Now, when we're not here, I have a lawn guy that comes by and cuts. Well, he's got a riding mower, and I told him, you're going to have to push mow this. And he said, no problem. So he's been push mowing my lawn, so have I, just using my COVID lawn mower, just a cheap push mower. Now, a couple of you guys have asked for my last video. I thought you were going to bring down the electric lawn mower. Well, I've learned it doesn't cut low enough. I needed something that would cut exact down to 1 inch, and so that's why I bought that cheap lawn mower for here. So cutting height, keep it low. You got to have irrigation. You got to be willing to keep that grass seed wet. So that's one of the benefits here. One of the reasons why I'm having such fast germination is I've got an irrigation system, plus we've been having a lot of storms. The past 3 or 4 days we've had rain almost every single day, and we've had some really big actual thunderstorms. Planting depth, I think that's really important. Now, I did a video on our gardens, and one of the rules about seeds is you plant them twice as deep as the seed is tall. So if a seed is 1/4 of an inch big, you're only going to plant it 1/2 inch maximum. Stuff like Zoysia and Bermuda, you're only going to plant it 1/4 of an inch. Don't plant it too deep. Remember, a seed stores its own energy, and it uses that energy to break through the ground. It only has so much, so you don't want to plant it too deep. I've learned that over the years too. Don't make the mistake of going and planting grass seed 2 inches deep. You want it just at 1/4 to 1/2 inch, and you'll get a quick germination on it. Soil testing. Before we get into what we're going to feed our lawn and put down, if you can stop right now and go out and do a soil test. I happen to use Clemson just because they're really convenient, but use whatever you want. And just understand if you have any weird spikes or deficiencies. That really helps. What am I putting down? You can put down any of the positives that don't have nutrients. So if you want to put down humichar, if you want to put down dirt booster, I've been putting that down with the microbial spray. But I actually like to use PGF Balance. And why is that? PGF Balance, because it's all fast release, number one. So I know the nutrients are going in the ground. PGF Balance. You can put down a little bit of Green Shocker, which is the all fast release 712. That should be available in just a couple of weeks. If you want to put out a light coat of Green Shocker, you can put out some of that. But I want you to use more of a fast release fertilizer and do a light coat. Now the PGF Balance is a 10-10-10, so I'm putting out 10% nitrogen, 10% phosphorus, 10% potassium, has a little bit of iron plus micronutrients. I really think PGF Balance is probably one of the best fertilizers for new seedings, especially if you don't have a soil test. But that's what I like to use. Matter of fact, I just went on Amazon and I ordered 3 or 4 more bags so I can put it out. So one of the first things I'm going to talk about is really hammering, and I mean hammering these weeds. So I came out here several days ago, and I actually put down a mixture. I also used some Image for Southern Lawns, and that seemed to really have a good impact on the doveweed. And then I came back with the Bio Advanced Lawn and Weed and Crabgrass Killer and applied that. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you, the other day I came out and I could just rake that doveweed. It was all dying, or starting to die at least. But today, because this crabgrass was so thick, I'm actually coming out with a second application. And I don't have any surfactants, so I threw in a little bit of Dawn. So I'm just using my regular tank sprayer, and I have just come back and treated. Now, seeing some of this crabgrass die off, but I mean, I wanted to hammer it. So I'm coming back out with a second application on this and just spraying this whole area back again with Killer. So unfortunately, what I have to do is I have to wait a good week before I actually go ahead and start working this for reseeding, but I'm prepping it now. And that's what you want to do, is you want to plan ahead. So if you've got a lot of weeds, you got a lot of crabgrass, go ahead and hammer that out. Let's attack those weeds, number one. Number two, when you're ready to plant, cut your grass as short as you possibly can, especially warm season people. Really cut it down low, do your reseed, and then use some type of scarifier. Now I use the Sun Joe, and I'll be doing that back here in a few days, and I'll put that on video too. But I'll come back here with a coat of PGF Balanced, and maybe I got enough Green Shocker to use in the backyard. I don't have enough because it hasn't been released yet. I don't have enough for the front, so I'll use the Green Shocker back here too. And that'll just be perfect for this. Hey guys, so I want to show you, I've treated this and a lot of it's dying, but it basically, a large portion of this is just going to rake up. A lot of this doveweed is just raking up now that it's dead. That's all I'm doing. I'm just pulling up the stupid doveweed out of here. Look at this right here. Look at that. Is that crazy or what? That's all the damn doveweed I'm pulling. Okay, so here's what the finished scraping project looks like. So I have raked out, and I'm pretty much bare soil over here. Over here, I really had a bunch of crabgrass established. So I sprayed the living heck out of this, and I'm going to give it a while, and then I'm going to reseed. So here's our new French drain, which by the way worked absolutely perfect during these storms. Amazing. Well, let me take you out front and show you the front. So like I said, the front, the bare areas you're going to see are kind of pooling areas. I need to get that leveled out. I got to tell you, people walking by are saying, wow, man, your lawn looks great. So this is Zoysia lawn. This was all dirt. This is simply seed. And this is barely 2 months old. And that's looking great. So you can see it here. Isn't that great? So you can see some of my bare patches here, bare patch here. And what I did is I came out with a rake and I scraped these up and I planted seed. And I'm going to show you real quick. I want to show you some germination that's coming up. I saw some over here. See that right there? See that germination? That's kind of shocking that 5 days later I've got Zoysia actually germinating. That's pretty cool right there. You can see it over here. See that right there? But I gotta say, I'm pretty happy with this. Make sure you click that subscribe button here, because I may have an interesting video coming up for you. I have, because we're at the beach and it's all sand, we have a shallow well pump. A shallow well only goes 20-30 feet down. A normal well will go several hundred feet. That's not the way it works here. With a shallow well pump at the coast, if you go deeper than that, you're going to hit salt water. So you always go shallow. And it runs my whole irrigation system. So I get free water down here. The only problem, it smells like well water. It smells like shallow well. Usually you have high levels of sulfur, which kind of smells kind of like septic, kind of pooey smell. And you'll always, in our area, you'll have a lot of iron. And let me show you something. Here is a fresh sample of that water. Ooh, and it smells like minerals. And it smells a little bit like sulfur. So we're white right now. Let's put it in there. And let's see what my parts per million count is. So read with me here. So we're 0, 2, 5. We're in between, we are in between the 10 and the 25. So I would say I'm probably close to 20 parts per million on iron, which is really high. So I have to probably look at an iron removal system, which is not cheap. Why is it a problem? It's not a problem for the grass. It's a problem for anything that's a light color. It turns everything orange. Matter of fact, there's a side of my driveway and brick out here that's orange. I've got 2 posts over here that are white. They're turning orange. So high iron will turn orange. Well, I'm getting a white picket fence installed, and if I've got this irrigation system anywhere near that picket fence, it's going to turn orange. So I either have to let the grass near the fence die from lack of water, or get some kind of iron purification. So I'm looking at a couple things. It's not cheap, but I think it'd be worth the investment. So we'll see. So here is an interesting note, folks. I have been seeing white moths all around my yard for days. And look at that. What do I got there? That is an armyworm. And I saw, when I was digging this up the other day, I saw a ton of armyworms. I mean, just a ton of them in here. But I just did armyworm videos, so if you haven't watched my armyworm videos, I show you how to detect them and how to treat for them, because they are out like crazy. So let me take a second and talk to you about babysitting your seed and why it's important. If you are going to plant grass seed, let's say you're going to plant it 1/4 of an inch deep, even 1/2 inch deep, and you're going to leave it out here in this blazing sun all day long without any water, you're going to have a really slow germination, you're going to have a poor germination, or you may have no germination. I'm just going to warn you. Unfortunately, you almost have to babysit it. And I'm talking about, like, if you have an irrigation system, set it up so that you're doing short waterings like every 2 hours, every 2 or 3 hours, just to keep that seed moist. When the seed dries out, it doesn't want to germinate. I will let you know that. So if you plant seed and you have a light rain for 2 or 3 days, you'll see the seed germinate just like that. But if you let the heat pound on this and dry out that soil, it's not going to work. I'm just telling you. So anyways, I have got this ready. I got to wait for my weed killer to sort of dissipate. I want the crabgrass to absorb all that weed killer and kill it down to the roots. So it is sitting over here baking in the sun with that weed treatment on it. I also sprayed over here again, just in case, but I'm pretty much ready to go. You know, so I've been debating whether I want to do Zoysia back here, or whether maybe I want to do a little Kentucky bluegrass just because all the shade we get. I think Zoysia will do okay. So we'll give it a shot. Anyways, hit subscribe and I'll talk to you later. Bye.